here's what we got. It's all baked. And you can see it's still pretty rough. So in case yours is still rough like this too, I'm going to show you how we're going to fix that. Okay, and you can also see all the crystals are in, baked in, tough. They're not going anywhere. Actually, if you wanted to take one out, it'd actually be pretty hard. So hopefully you like what you did if you decided to do this. So now what we're going to do is fix all of these little lumps and bumps so we can have a smooth surface, like our little test model here. All right, so basically what I'm just going to do is take some more of the clay and soften it up a little bit, get right to it. Just take little bits off, small amounts, not too much at one time. Just makes it easier. Really should have cut my nails first. I forgot. Okay, so you just take it. I'm actually, there's my X-Acto knife. Everything's everywhere. Okay. I'm going to take an even smaller amount. Okay. See that? And just going to patch in the areas where you've got little dips. And then you can use your fingers or you can take a tool and just smooth it over. And that's really all there is to it. Smooth it in. Then take your knife and trim the opposite side just to get your edge back. Right. So this will be a lot easier now since you have a foundation already and it's already hardened, so you can press on it and not have to worry about it distorting anymore. And so it makes it really easy to now get a smooth surface, because now your tape isn't wiggling around. So it becomes way easier. So that's why in the last step I was saying that we really aren't trying to get it to look perfect yet. Just, you know, get the basic shape in as best you can, because the real shaping will be done now. Okay. So anywhere you've got little low points, that's all you do. Just take it, fill it in. It might be easier if you want to do it with your hands so that you can actually feel if it's smooth or not. You can do that too. And you can either do one side at a time, or you can just go ahead, get them both done, and then bake it. Or you can just do one side, bake it, come back, do the other side, whichever one you're more comfortable with. And just put it on there, and then if you use a tool, or even with your finger, and you just get a ball of it and put it on, and you drag it across, it will just kind of fill in anywhere it needs to fill in. You can see it's already starting to look a whole lot better than it was. So like I said, it won't stay ugly. It's not a big deal. Okay, so just fill in any of those low points. If you've got, after everything is filled in, if there are any high points, those can easily be sanded. So I think I said in the last video that I didn't sand this yet. And the reason I didn't sand it yet is because I didn't want to take off too much of what we had already put on. I would rather just leave it lumpier and fill in any low spots first. And then after that, if there's any high points, then take it down once everything is kind of more uniform. And I just felt like it's a little less work rather than sanding everything down and then might have, you know, maybe having to rebuild a lot of what you already had. If the middle where your wire is showing a little bit, you can cover that, but you don't really have to. Like if you just want to put a little thin layer, if you got like a little chrome like that, and you want to spread a little thin layer over it, you can, but it's really not necessary because it will be covered up in the next step. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. You won't need to watch me do everything. I'm pretty sure you got the point. So I'm gonna finish this and then I'll come back once all of that is done. And I'll show you where we go from there, all right? Okay, I'm not done yet, but I just wanted to come back and show you where I am with this. So you can see it looks a lot better than it did. Still have to do the back, but it's a lot better than it was. And you can see it looks a whole lot smoother. Turn it to the side, and then you can see if there's any low spots still. And if so, just keep going, filling it in, but you can kind of see it's pretty done on this side. So I just wanted to show the progress. I really haven't even been working on it for that long. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So it won't take you a terribly long time. And you don't really need to worry about the edges too much because anything that goes over and, you know, makes your edge look crazy, that will be very easily sanded out, so that's not too much of a problem. And then you'll, as you start to fill it in and smooth it out, you'll see that bevel coming in really nicely. Don't know if you can tell. You'll be able to see it a little bit. But that's all there is to it. So just turn it on its edge. And since we use the cast clay for this, it is still flexible, so actually it will wiggle. Not so much while you're working, it's firm enough that you can push on it and not have to really worry. And that's why I didn't want to use like a copper or an aluminum wire in there. And that's why we use the music wire. That way when you push on it, the whole thing doesn't just bend. So it is strong enough for you to kind of get in there and do what you got to do. If it shifts like this way, you can just adjust it. It'll stay. So it's not that big a deal. Just wanted to show one more thing. Thought that'd be a good idea. I'm on the back side now. And the back of this one is a little flatter. So it doesn't really have much of that bevel in the middle. Not like this side. So before I go off camera to finish things up, I just wanted to show you how I kind of fix that. It's not much different than what I was doing before. It's the same thing, but I'm kind of putting the little clay lumps to one side or the other, and then kind of just keeping my little spatula, spoon, tool thingy just to one side. And then that'll kind of give you that little ridge in the middle. And then if any goes to the other side, put it to the other side and do the same thing. And I am just kind of scraping vertically along the blade so that it creates that in the middle. And then just take some more, and that's what I'm doing on both sides. I could hold it a little steadier if I went ahead and baked it, but I don't feel like it. Just want to kind of do as much as I can right now. And then come down on the other side. So it's building up a bit. It might need to be gone over a bit more, but this is smoothing it out and helping to create that bevel in the middle. So the only thing you don't want to do is just take it straight down the middle, because then you'll flatten all of that out. So I really want to put my finger back here, but I don't want to squish the other side. So just like that. Excess clay off my tool here. Okay, it's a little tougher once you get towards the end of the sword. It's a little more unstable since it's further away from where you're holding it. So, would be a good idea if you wanted to just bake the other side, or if you want to just use a heat gun and kind of set it a little, just so you won't be able to squish the work you've already done. You can do that too. I just don't want to. And then I think my heat gun's on the other side of the room, so I'm just not stopping to get it right now. Once I start working, I like to keep going. So, just like that. Okay, so I don't know if you can really see it good. Maybe a little. It's starting to get in there. Okay, so I'll just keep going with this. Probably will go ahead and bake it to preserve this side. Otherwise, I will come back after it's all completely done. I actually might even do a little bit up here, because you can probably see that it's not even. So what can be done here is either I can cut this side to match this side, or I can just build this side up to match this. Either way, in case you've got that problem going on too. That's a pretty easy fix. Like I said, and then all the waviness out here can be sanded. I said it's alright if your tape shows a little bit, because it will be covered in the next step. So go ahead, finish up filling in and smoothing it out. And then once you're satisfied with it, go ahead and bake it. And then finish your other side if you're baking in between. And then once you're done, you can sand out any imperfections and you can even out your edges. I'll probably show you a little bit of that too, just in case you will want to see it. And then we'll go on to the finishing. Okay, and now we're done. This is all baked. So, let's see, it's a little rough still. I'm gonna sand it now. Came out pretty good. It's not too much, I think, that needs to be done. Turn it this way, you can see it's a little lumpy. Nothing too awful though. And since we used cast clay, get this. See it? So that's what'll protect it if it falls or anything. And we're gonna use 400 grit, and I'm using like a wet dry sandpaper. And this one is this is really like automotive sandpaper, so it's not like wood sandpaper or anything like that. The wood sandpaper tends to be a little too coarse, So like if you looked at wood sandpaper and you looked at a 400, it wouldn't look as fine as this does. So what you want to do as we get ready to sand this is you just want to be careful that you don't, you know, don't flatten out your little bevel in the middle, and try not to scratch your metal pieces. So I'm just gonna wet this. It's really all you have to do. You don't have to keep it underwater or anything. This is enough usually. Or you could wet the sandpaper. I've done that too. And then you just take it, and I'm gonna just keep it on one side. And start sanding. And then just watch out when you get down to the areas with your details. Just make sure you don't sand them out. Sands pretty easily. It smooths out really quick with this 400. So you really just want to smooth your blade out and get your edge. Sometimes I think it's a little easier if you slide it like this along the edge. Don't do it too much because you don't want it to make it square, but where you can hold it on a slight angle and just kind of go off the edge like this. And you can also take a little piece like this, which actually I think this is what this was for last time. Fold it in half and you can do this. Just like I said before, you just want to be careful not to flatten out your bevel. So, and every so often you can rinse it off, get the grits off, because you probably won't see them until you go to rinse it, then you'll see them in the water. But anyway, that's all there is to it. And you'll see and feel the difference. Make sure you don't forget to do both sides. And you can also use the sandpaper to help shape the point of your blade, especially if you didn't get it quite even before. The sandpaper will take care of that too. And you just basically keep going with this until you're satisfied with the smoothness. Just use the 400 until you get all the major lumps out. And if you sand it before, then you know how to work it, but it's just in case you're not familiar with doing this. Use the 400 until you get the major lumps out, and then if you just want to smooth out, like if you get any sanding marks, which you shouldn't really with this, it's usually fine enough, it doesn't leave too many marks behind, especially in this cow's clay. It's usually okay, but if you want to, after you're done with the 400, then you can use a 600, which is even finer, and it will smooth this out even further. And then if you want, you can go up to the 800, all the way up. I think I have sandpapers all the way up to, like, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, maybe like 1200 or 1400. I usually don't use them all, but you can. Flip it around. Just to make sure. Smooth everything out to your liking. Make sure you get down in here. And if there's anything down in here that you need to smooth out, you probably won't need to because mine looks pretty good. But if you feel like there's anything in here you need to refine a little bit, usually if it's just this little connection area where it's making that transition, sometimes you might need to define that a little bit more, and the sandpaper will do that for you. Okay. And the metal pieces, you don't have to worry about getting them wet. It's not like they're gonna rust or anything. Okay. So, rinse that again. Okay. All right. This really at this point is done. You can see it's much smoother. Everything looks way better. So at this point you could just do whatever you like with it. But I am going to do a bonus part 6 where I show you how I finish these up in 2 different ways. So if you're interested in that, you can check out the next video, and if not, it's all done. There you go.